Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $, usual 50-50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has the missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping, $, usual 50-50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20, with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
for the best grooming products for you. Yes, all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, style, class, and luxury. We make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company, to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. The black gentleman, yeah. Company, to give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com. Yo. What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormy B Man for this Monday, July 7th, 2025. And this is number 126 episode for Nerds. We're calling this one Comic Book Film Fans and the Lack, Love, Hate for Source Material. Yeah. So when we be talking about these films that we love and the graphics that we've read and followed for generations, we find that there is a serious glitch in getting these films made properly for an ongoing chain of film fare in live action. They seem to start out with a decent film. That's to draw you in. Then they go left with social and political agendas, societal agendas, and things that don't have anything to do with these characters from the graphics that we have come to grow and love, like I said, for so many generations. So we're going to talk about that a little bit this evening. And I've got my partner in crime with me this evening. We got Drew Titan in the building. What's going on with you, Drew? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, man? I'm great. I am great. And looking forward to cooking on this, because these are just things that us nerds talk about all the time. They start out good, and then I've quickly grown into a place where it's like, man, how bad are they going to ruin my childhood? I mean, you have all the CGI and all this other stuff. The CGI it's improved over the last 10 years. It's gotten better. But what is CGI when you have no storyline? We should put that on the shirt, right? What is CGI if you have no storyline? Yeah. And what's nerve-wracking is when the stuff that we watch, storyline is there. Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? And that's the problem that we have when you're trying to reinvent the wheel, and you wonder how much ego is going on in Hollywood. We're up to, how many Supermen are we up to? How many times they reinvented that wheel? How many Supermen we had? How many Batmen have we had? You know, and it's like, can you leave something alone and let the audience sink it in, soak it in, and enjoy it? You bring in a new director and he wants to just reinvent the wheel. And what's worse is when you bring on a director that's not even a fan of what we hold dear, and that is a problem. That's a problem. And that's what we're talking about.
One director comes to mind immediately is James Gunn. And this is, and believe me, people, this is not something to come at James Gunn personally or anything, because he's got this new movie coming out, Superman. But we're making a point, and me specifically, because I brought his name up, making a point that though he has had some success with film fare, when he's done his work with Marvel and now he's over here with DC, and people need to understand, when he went to DC, Peacemaker was really his first grip of work with DC. Peacemaker, that series that he did, and now the Superman film he's doing, he's got a Supergirl movie coming. They're nothing like the comics, bro. Including this Superman that's coming out. And the Guardians of the Galaxy were nothing like the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a terrible track record for not only avoiding source material, he's actually gone through the lengths of telling his cast, people that he has cast in specific roles, to don't read the source material. So they're to follow his directorial lead, but know nothing of the characters that they're playing except for what he wants them to channel. And I think that that's very disingenuous, because you could be a person. I didn't even know much about Peacemaker, okay? Let's just be honest, because I didn't follow or read his comics. But once the show came out and I heard the backlash on it and everything, people who were really followers of that comic and everything, they were upset. They were like totally pissed off. And it was like, you know, he's bastardizing our, you know, our, how do you want to say it? Our history of the creative process behind specific characters. Correct. It's like, correct, you know, and it's very wrong. You know what I mean? And he's not the only one, James Gunn, but there have been a few others. And you just kind of like, you shake your head. Sam Raimi, who did the Spider-Man films, worked very hard to incorporate a lot of what was in the comics into those films that he did, the trilogy with Tobey Maguire. The only thing where he really messed up, but people kind of forgave him, was when he gave Peter the organic web shooting.
Yeah,
I didn't like that too much. You know, they didn't like that.
Made sense. We could have did without it.
Well, yeah, but when you think of other things that he did, like, I don't know if it was the second or third Spider-Man film with Tobey, it kind of goes over my head now because there's so much information, but when he was losing his powers, remember? And
that was actually from the book a little bit.
Right, and where I was going with that is that he even incorporated the famous cover shot, the splash cover shot, yes. Where Spider-Man walking away in the alley and he had thrown the Spider-Man suit in the garbage. Yeah. You could see it hanging out of the garbage can, and he made sure to capture that image in the film as Peter was walking away. And that hilarious moment when J. Jonah Jameson had the Spider-Man suit on and he's running around his office. He hates the character, but he's running around with the costume.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny. But no, it's things like that. And you just kind of, you get a little really upset about that, because when it's done right and it's channeled from the graphics and everything, it is so much more enjoyable, you know, and because they don't have to copy everything from the page, but they take elements and from the source material and make it like, oh, okay, I see what they did there, you know, that kind of thing. And we're seeing so much of this, man, that it's really bad. It's really bad. I mean, your thoughts. You know.
Yeah, I want to take it back to when I first noticed it. You got to understand that we noticed it immediately, and we really need to get a shirt made. CGI doesn't replace storyline. Give y'all guys an example. The first Hulk movie is about 20 years old now, right? When we had those new graphics coming out, and you know, Hollywood graphics, the first Ang Lee.
Yeah, Brokeback Hulk. Yeah.
Right, Brokeback Hulk, right? That movie was made so that a person that did not know anything about the Hulk could go to the movies and watch it. That Hulk was an amplified version of the TV show. where Dr. Banner was in the machine and then he goofed himself up and became the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, right? But what bothered me, because this was before the social media and the internet wasn't as big as it was today, but it was around then. Ang Lee was not familiar with the character at all. Everyone can see it and know, oh, that's the Incredible Hulk, but they don't know anything. Like you can see Superman. Oh, that's Superman. I don't know what the hell it is, though. You know, he was not educated about the character at all, which means he wasn't a fan. They hired him because I guess he was hot in these streets. He had a directing background, and they said, hey, do this film. And I went to go see it. I love the CGI, but I'm watching the film like I could have did a better job in directing this film, even if you gave me the base of the TV show. You guys got to understand that Hulk in 2003 was based off of the Bill Bixby Hulk, right? And it just didn't hit for me. It just didn't hit as well for me. Now, I enjoyed watching what they did with the graphics, but storyline. I went to go see that in movies with my dad. The Hulk is my dad's favorite character, and it's like, you know, we left the theater like, they'll get it right next time. Now, the Incredible Hulk was a Marvel production. They got that right. But again, when you found out that Ang Lee was not a fan, first of all, that's doom for you. You're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. If you can't find a director that is not even a fan of the material, you may as well go find somebody else. Prime example, other than the Hulk. This fool, I'm jumping around a bit, this fool that directed Thor Love and Thunder, do you think he was educated about the character Thor at all? He didn't care what these guys come in. They bring their own cast and crew in, and they bring their own writers in, and they put their own nooks and crannies in it, and their salt and pepper and vinegar and sweet and sour on it, because there was so many gay overtones in that film. I couldn't keep count. By the time I was 10 minutes in the movie, I was sitting like this. When he did the split and stopped I was like, come on, man. You guys lost me there. And this guy was not a fan of the franchise. And like you said, when you're bringing these guys in and you're demanding that the actors don't study the source material, that's a problem. And there's a lot of ego involved. I don't care about your personal messages, because that's what was going on in Thor Love and Thunder. I don't care about that. Stay loyal. The work is done. Just bring it to life.
You know, it's just like what Peter Jackson did with the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
He totally captured what was on the page and in the books, in the graphics, and totally brought it to life in live action. So much to the degree that there was an embellishment of each subsequent film in the trilogy that he produced, that he had 40 minutes, a little over an hour, almost 2 hours of extra footage, director's cut material, that when you were able to purchase it for home viewing, it was there to your pleasure. I remember, this is a wonderful recollection for me, you know, because I'm into home theater and stuff like that, right? And the whole setup and all of that. And my mother, she was always a film buff herself, but not as much as my dad and I. But there was a time she called me up and she said, I want to come over, because we lived within, at that time, we lived within like a block and a half of one another. She said, I want to come over this weekend and watch those Lord of the Ring movies with you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. She's like, no, I want to come early because I want to watch the long ones, the extended versions. I was like, you sure you want to sit up and watch those like that? And she said, yeah, I want to see him. We could have some lunch and we could sit there and watch him, you know, take a little lunch break. And I said, okay, dude, we started like around 10 a.m. on a Saturday or something. And we watched all 3 of those films. It was one of the strongest memories I got of sharing some time with my mom. Right. She wanted to just sit up there and watch the Peter Jackson extended versions of those films, and she had the darndest time, man. She sat there like a geek, like how we talk about the movies and stuff. That was her on that day. She totally geeked out with me for Lord of the Rings, and I'll never forget that. But also, where I'm going with even sharing that story is that when it's done right, that's what happens. Yes. People have a sense of escape. That's why we bought the books and the graphics and everything, because it was a moment to get away from the rigmarole of regular life. You could just get into a good book, a good graphic, you know, whatever it is that you know takes your interest. And that's where it means something. Now, to go back to what you were saying about the Thor situation, Marvel overthought the process with Thor, because I remember thinking when his film was not yet produced, but it was in the pipeline, it was coming after, you know, the Iron Man and the Hulk and everything, and Thor was due to come. They said that they had hired Kenneth Branagh for the director because he had a background in theater and films of like the old knights and Vikings and stuff like that. And they thought that he would be able to channel that and bring it into the Marvel universe in a way which it would not only be acceptable, but it can connect, because Thor was the first godlike you know, character and everything, and Asgard and Odin and all of that kind of stuff. So they had to find a way to do that. And guess what? He did a tremendous job. Mm-hmm. It wasn't enough action to some people's liking, but you can always up the ante when the sequels come. But I remember that what's my man name that played Odin?
Oh shit. What's his name? As soon as you forget, I forget. The guy, yeah. I know you're talking about. Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins, yes.
Yeah. I remember seeing him in behind the scenes talking about Kenneth Branagh and his directorial movements for the scenes that they were shooting in the film, and he had a lot of respect for Kenneth Branagh, because of he took a character, a comic character, made it palatable for, you know, live action, but also gave them real material to work with. And he talked about how they would shoot a scene and he said, that was great, but can we do just one more? And he do another take, and he was like, yeah, but like, how about one more? And he said that he would keep doing that till he got a performance out of the actors that made them, they went from kind of like going through the motions to going into emotions. And it became better. And those last takes, or the extra takes, gave them source material within what was being shot to pick and choose. Do you remember the scene? I'm giving an example here. The scene where Odin cast out Thor.
Yeah.
And they started arguing with one another.
Yeah.
That was a very emotional scene between Chris Hemsworth and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
And when he told him, you're a very vain and greedy little boy, and he said, you're an old man and you're a fool, you know. And he was like,
Okay.
Maybe I am a fool for thinking that you would be able to take over this kingdom. And so he took everything away from him. He's like, I take from you your robes. I take from you your power. And he took his hammer and everything. And he stripped Thor. It was very emotional.
Mhm.
And he hasn't been like that in any other sequels. Loki, the reason that people loved Loki was because of Tom Hiddleston's performance in the first Thor film.
Yeah.
That's what they loved.
Mhm.
Now, Tom Hiddleston is a pretty darn good actor himself. You know, he really is. He actually, a lot of people may not know this, but he actually auditioned for Thor. And you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, he auditioned for Thor. And though he's as great an actor as Kenneth Branagh didn't see him as Thor, but he said that he had enough charisma that he thought that Loki would work for him. And so he offered him the Loki role, and Hemsworth was up against that young man that was on Sons of Anarchy. What's that guy's name? He was also in the movies with the kaiju robots. What's the
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. The guy, he's in Sons of Anarchy, the blonde guy.
Yeah, I can't think of no one's name tonight. That's crazy.
Yeah, but him, and he was in Pacific Rim too. Mm-hmm. It was between Hemsworth and that guy to play Thor. And I think that they went with Hemsworth because he was taller.
Yeah.
And they knew that they could like put some mass on him, because the other guy, he was a good actor and everything, but he was only about 6 feet tall or something.
Right,
he was
right.
The same height as most of the actors, if not an inch or so taller. So, but if you look at how, because that was Kenneth Branagh who chose those actors. And Charlie Hunnam, yeah, Adrian Viet, thank you so much. Charlie Hunnam, yeah, that's the guy. It was between Hemsworth and he that was gonna go, that was gonna be Thor. But you could see like early on, even with the casting, how they were doing things, doing it the correct way.
Right.
They've gotten away from that. They've gotten away from that, and it hurts because you showed me the right stuff, and now you're showing me this other stuff and expecting me to accept it, and I can't do it. I can't do it, man. That's just like you had a great actor in Ed Norton playing Banner.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
And because, you know, he pretty much rewrote that film from what it was to what made the final cut. But everything that was deleted was also his writing too. And that's why he didn't want to do promotion for the film when it was coming out, because he was like, all of my writing contributions to build this character and give him depth and everything, you guys cut that stuff out. He was like, no, I don't want, but he didn't know that there was a bigger picture going on.
Yeah.
Because I don't think at that time, even though Kevin Feige would say, well, we got some sequels coming and stuff, and you know, you'll be in a couple of films. It wasn't like what we know what it is now. So Ed Norton was like, you know, but again, if you go back and watch the deleted scenes of The Incredible Hulk, all of it is real substance. The dialogue that he sits down and talk with Doc Samson, and how they're talking about him being his personality issues and stuff, and the doctor's telling him, oh, I've done a lot of work with patients and I can tell you've got some issues, but it's nothing that can't be worked out. And he was like, no, nothing like this, because you know Banner's talking about the Hulk,
Yeah.
And Dr. Sampson has no idea about the Hulk.
Yeah.
He's just thinking he's dealing with some emotional issues. But all of that stuff Norton put in there, including Banner learning at the end, by the end of the film, learning how to control to turn into Hulk.
Yeah.
That was Ed Norton. That was Ed Norton. He wrote that. In other words, he gave life to that film and script that wasn't there. And if you look back at what's his name that directed Iron Man, a lot of they have like a draft of what they want to do, but a lot of the dialogue is written as they go and sometimes ad-libbed and stuff like that. But Norton gave concept to the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people, they liked it more than they liked the Hulk film.
They did.
But they still had an issue with it. But I love the Incredible Hulk. Do you know, and I said this to you before and to the chat during this show, that's my most watched Marvel film, The Incredible Hulk. I have watched that film more than any of them. Because there's something about him being on the run and Ross trying to chase him down. And Ross, when he was saying, I want what's in him, you know, it was like
that was so true to the comic book. People will never know. And so that's Earthman.
You fool ass Earthman.
Salute, brother.
That was so cool.
That was so they nailed it with the casting in that line. You felt that. I said, man, that's it right there. And I think Incredible Hulk was one of the most comic book accurate Marvel movies.
Yes.
One of the most comic book accurate ones. One of the most. Yeah.
Dude, in the scene where Blonsky finally turns into the Abomination and he starts raging through the city.
Yeah.
And those military guys see him and they was like, you see that? It's like those guys was like, they had never seen nothing like that. And they was like, man, is that gonna work? You know, they was like talking about shooting him and everything. But it was like some stuff in there that was really cool. Also, the deleted scene of Banner going up into the mountains, the snowy mountains.
Yeah.
Delete himself. Ed Norton wrote that. He wrote that.
Did he even write the little Easter egg at the part? Did he put that in there?
The Easter egg were Cap in the ice?
Yes.
Yeah.
All
of that.
That was genius.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. When I saw that, I said, oh, you saw that? I had to rewind it. I said, yo, that's Captain America. In the I was like, oh man, how could you not?
Yep.
How could you? I gotta rewatch that, man. That was that right there was one
the
of the
Incredible
most
Hulk was amazing to me, man, and I still love that film. I will put it on just to watch my favorite parts, which I have about 5 or 6 favorite parts in there. Definitely the opening scene where he changes to the Hulk for the first time, because it's shot like a scary movie. You don't really see him. You get glimpses of him and everything, shadows and, you know, a figure walking through the dark and stuff. I love that because, again, the suspense, because you're on the edge of your seat. You want to see him. You want to see the Hulk. And then when they finally show him to you, when he burst through that balcony on that college campus and landed on the ground and stood up and he went, ah, like that. And veins and everything was popping out. And Betty was like, you know, it was like, dude, that was like, you know, you give him a little bit, you give him a little, and then when you release it and just let it, the whole thing, it just took off from there, man. And see, that's what I'm talking about. Source material. And he's fighting the military on the college campus. In the comics, he was always fighting Ross and the military.
So comic book accurate right there.
When they broke out the Stark Industries Soundwave things,
Yeah.
Eddie,
Yeah.
which was a nice Easter egg, Stark
Yeah.
Industries, right?
Right. Yep. Yep.
You know,
That was
dude,
brilliant.
I mean, this is what we're talking about. And when we talk about the love of the source material being portrayed, that's it right there. The lack of it comes from when these directors and producers are trying to put these political agendas and everything in there where it doesn't belong, the DNI and all of that crap. It's like, stop it, man. Just put the source material out there, you know. And I meant to say something about this because this brother right here kicked it all off, man.
That's right. He saved the MCU, y'all.
Kicked it all off with this character, man. And he doesn't get the credit that he deserves.
Did I send you on Instagram the clip of what's his name? The goddamn comedian. I could have wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I may have sent it to you. Let me see. Godfrey. Yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah.
When he talked about how he was talking to Stan Lee years ago.
Yeah.
And he was saying, you know, how Wesley Snipes saved Marvel. And he went on to talk about Richard Roundtree and all these other black, you know, it was really how black actors saved Hollywood. But he said Wesley Snipes saved the MCU.
Listen,
the Blade
man,
movies didn't get the intro. They didn't get the Marvel intro until the third movie.
and I'll tell you something. All of the funny business happened when Stan passed away.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did.
It's almost like they couldn't wait. Like they had a whole laundry list of stuff that they wanted to put out. And when he passed away, he's like, okay, green like this, green like that, you know, because I'm certain that Stan would not have liked to see the Eternals like they were.
Oh my God, man.
You know, because the Eternals and the New Gods are pretty much the same thing with Marvel and DC, you know. But to make these characters, you know, change genders and sexes and be same-sex relationships and stuff.
Jack Kirby's turning in his grave, man.
Yeah, Stan wasn't that, nor was Jack Kirby. But he wrote enough of these characters to stand alone as who and what they were and how they represented in the graphics. It's like you had enough there, just like what he told us about Professor X and Magneto and what they represented. They represented Dr. King and Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Elements of those men's character. That's what it was. And the whole mutant thing, that happens to be people who are unaccepted in society through bias and prejudice.
Yeah.
Not somebody who wants to be a man that was born a woman, or a man that wants to change himself into a female. That ain't what that's all about, man.
Not at all.
But if you want to create characters and add them to the universe, go for it. But don't take source material and just crap on it, right? I mean, like we talk about Sonny Chiba and Bruce Lee, right?
Right.
Who the hell want to see Ezra Miller playing Bruce Lee? Huh? Or who want to see Donnie Yen playing Chuck Norris? Are you kidding me? This is what we're talking about here. And people have a right to be upset.
You know, they need a hard reboot on some of this stuff. They have an opportunity here. But I see Young Deezy, he says She-Hulk or She-Hulk. And y'all all know how we felt about that. You know what just dawned on me, which is actually a nightmare? There was a portion, and shout out to John Byrne. He's one of my favorite artists. He used to draw the Fantastic Four in the 80s. Brilliant artist. Brilliant artist. I think he drew the Fantastic Four the best. He was the one that changed the color from the sky blue uniforms to the dark blue and white uniforms. There was a point where Ben Grimm left the Fantastic Four for a while, and he was like up in space doing something. And She-Hulk became the 4th member. Now, Stormy, if these pillow-biting writers get wind of that, and they try and bring her back in that Fantastic Four. Now, it was brilliant when she was there because she kicked a lot of ass. It was brilliant. But let me play with the idea. If you were to bring back She-Hulk into the MCU, because right now people are doing an excellent job of not casting her, but they painted themselves in a corner because they already introduced Scar in a very anticlimactic way. They kind of ruined her. I know Daredevil hasn't mentioned, banging her in her series, which is ridiculous. If you were to bring her back, what would be the circumstances in reference to storyline to normalize it to a degree where it's tolerable? How would you do it? Because I don't know how.
Well, she's an attorney, right?
Yes.
Did they say what city she's in during her series?
I want to say it was out west. Probably California, LA.
Allegedly, Sam Wilson is going to have issue with Yelena Belova because it's going to be his Avengers and her Avengers, Yeah,
right.
And depending on where they are centralized, Vision is coming back too.
Yeah.
He got a series that's on the way.
Yeah.
Maybe as attorney representation, Matt Murdock might be doing something for those on the East, and she could do something for those on the West, and that would be a way of sliding her back in. The Fantastic Four will probably come into this universe in New York because that's kind of where they were based when they were in the original universe and everything.
Yeah.
But I could see it that kind of way. Or she could go off world with Banner
And never come back.
Hopefully, but because there's going to be some sort of a World War Hulk storyline.
Yeah.
And she's going to be a part of that. Now, I think that their World War Hulk storyline is going to involve everyone who got the serum that changed them into hulking characters. Her, Banner, Scar, that young guy that was in her series. Remember that one guy? He hulked out.
I forgot about him, man. Damn, man. For what?
Abomination, Ross. So there's gonna be a lot of Hulks, So that I could see them angling that some kind of way. And I could even see them having Ben Grimm or Reed Richards trying to solve issues for them, because some of them don't want to be Hulks. You know what I mean? And I could kind of see that being woven in. But hopefully it's to a very small degree her coming back and being a part of the system of things going forward, because she's also a character that breaks the fourth wall, and we got Deadpool for that, you know.
Yeah.
And she can't do it as good as Deadpool anyway.
No. I like what Fool Ass Earthman says. Blue Marvel. When I heard Denzel was coming to the MCU, he's gonna be in the new Black Panther movie. But I said, man, if Denzel's gonna have one last run, I would love to see him come in as Blue Marvel, because Blue Marvel's a man of a certain age, and his storyline it's insane. Are you familiar with Blue Marvel's storyline?
I'm not.
Oh man, it's great. Basically, short version, he was around during the Invaders, and he had a full uniform. And what happened was he was fighting off some worldly threat, and him and his team, they beat him, but his suit ripped, and everyone saw, oh, he's black. So the government told him to stand down, and he was dormant ever since. He's a college professor. He said, I'll stand down. So all of this stuff that was happening, and Blue Marvel, dude is like Sentry type strong. But he said, you want me to stand down? I'll stand down. And he stood down.
He's like old boy, like that befriended Sam and Falcon and
Yes. They told him this, and they told him to stand down because he was that powerful. I mean, he's powerful, and he's still around, but you just don't see him because he's like, government told me to stand down because I was black. But something happens, and he picks up the mantle again. You know, but he's also very old. But being that he caught these superpowers, he doesn't age like a normal person. But I reviewed it on Bear Cave. You know, Blue Marvel, when I talked about black heroes, and Blue Marvel is the dude, like, he can go 1D with the Sentry. He can go 1D with the Hulk. And he's like one of the greatest characters you never heard of because the government made you forget him. He was told to stand down because they found out he was black. That was crazy. That's crazy. But he has a hell of a storyline. And I thought that that Denzel would be perfect for that. Because if you look at the character in the book, it just makes sense. You know, but if Denzel, I think this Marvel film is gonna be his last film. I would love to, I'm just thinking about who would be a good Blue Marvel, because he's a military dude. You know what I mean? And like I said, that story is something that'll hit the heart, man. Yeah, and he's smarter than Reed Richards. That's another thing. I mean, he's like, man, but Denzel, I was like, shit, that'd be crazy perfect for him. But
hey, listen, when I was watching F1, I was looking at Damson Idris, and I was saying to myself, could I see him as the Black Panther? I definitely could. I definitely could. The guy is a good actor, and he needs something that he can chew a roll up like that, and that he would be great for that. They're gonna have to correct that situation too.
They know that they do. They have to bring back T'Challa to some degree. So, see, some of this stuff, that's what social media is really good for. They listen, and they listen to the complaints. They listen to it. And I mean, since we're on the topic, have you watched Ironheart?
I want to address a cash out from
okay.
The OG Mr. Mont. He's saying salute with a cash app donation. Thank you there, Mr. Mont. Appreciate your support, man. Thank you so much.
Salute, Mr. Mont.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you watched the this Ironheart?
I still haven't. I was going to try to watch some of it this week, you know, because I have a little time, but I haven't got down to it yet.
Let me pull this up real quick.
Your thoughts?
Share that screen real quick. That's Blue Marvel in his full gear. And then the damn, he was fighting off some damn threat. The suit ripped, and everyone saw he was black. And they was like, hold on a minute. And this was in the middle of, you know, civil rights and, you know, systematic racism out loud. And they're like, hold up, there's this nigga flying around, and he's strong like that. Y'all got to do something. And this is him when he's suited up again.
Yeah.
That got Denzel all over it, man. That got Denzel all over it, man. But sheesh.
Well, how about this? What if Ryan Coogler is writing that role for Denzel and just ain't saying nothing about it yet?
I'd love it.
Because, you know, they're gonna bring a third Black Panther film.
Yeah.
And what if he's been hiding out in Wakanda?
Probably. Hey, man. Probably. But you gotta bring, because you know what it is? You know how Captain Marvel evened the odds when they fought Thanos? Because without her, it'd been a little more harder. When she came out and saw Blue Marvel would have flew down and punched Thanos in the face. I'm just telling you that. He'd have had a problem with this dude. I'm telling you, this dude is that powerful. You know, I mean, this character is, you know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. So, you know, this guy, when you get a minute, just look him up. Look him up, and it's them in a barbershop, all the black characters. That's pretty dope. You know what I mean? But he has a very unique story, man. And this is one of those characters that they'll be afraid of. Oh shit, Michael Jai White. I didn't even think of that. David Scott, salute. Yeah, Michael Jai White. That's pretty good. You know, let him grow his gray out a little bit because the brother dyes his hair. That's all good. I think he does. No shade. But he'd be pretty good. Michael Jai White be pretty good. He's a big guy. Pause. Yeah. I'd like that. But yeah, getting back to the Ironheart series, getting a lot of backlash. I was watching the one of those panels, and it just got super racist. The way they were cutting her up, it started out, well, you know, I don't like it or whatever, and then they started clowning, saying things like, "Oh, look at this, black girl magic. Oh, look at this. So she you know she's a black character because she doesn't know her father." And they were saying shit like that. This was an all-white panel, and I'm like, wow, you see this? You see this? Now I have to go support it just because. Now, whether it's a shitty series or not, I don't know. I heard there's a lot of pillow biters in there, you know. From what I heard, because I gotta watch it. I did see one episode. One of the brothers in there got his nails done and got eye polish on it. It was like crazy, like, you know, mascara. And I said, okay, that's the gay character. But I heard they gayed it up. So I'm like, on phase 4, on its way out, what they did was they stuck all that gay stuff in that. And because it's a black woman, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to lump all of that crap in her series. Because the audience has just said, you know what, okay already. Leave that shit alone. Stop trying to make your personal hoorah in things that we find entertaining. You directors, okay, you're gay. We get it. Please leave it alone. Stop it. We don't care about that. They didn't put that in any Captain America movie. And I'm not asking for it, but you did it. You didn't do it. You snuck it in to the Thor Love and Thunder movie, though. Why would you do that? Why am I sitting there with my nephew and Zeus is talking about orgies? Here go my nephew. What's an orgy?
Or why did they have the damn rock man sitting up there educating them kids, telling them how he and his male counterpart procreate?
They gotta hold hands for an extensive amount of time in the bottom of a volcano, all that hot lava. And his boyfriend / husband that he procreated with looks like Freddie Mercury with the mustache. And he's teaching the kids. Did y'all catch the because that went over my head for a minute. And when you said that, Stormy, I said
that was me that helped you.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, you're right. Wait a minute. Oh shit. He damn sure was teaching the kids. These direct this is why people hate Hollywood, man. That's why. That went right over my head. And I said, oh, wait a minute, you're right. He's teaching the kids. And how do y'all, there's no females in that species, but there's all males, and you gotta hold hands in the bottom of a volcano until you make a little rock baby. Why the fuck the kids need to know that? What? That's ridiculous. And you couldn't kill him.
That's like in the Spider-Man movie when Peter and them was in the gym class, and the gym teacher was talking, and they were showing Captain America, Steve Rogers, doing that PSA.
Yes.
And he said, well, you know, he's probably an enemy of the state right now. They just slid that in there. You know, it's like Cap, you know, supposed to be America strong, and here he is. He's wanted by the government. You know, It's like, man, they couldn't help themselves doing that kind of stuff, man. I'm like, you know what? This is crazy.
So when we talk about source material, there was nothing in Love and Thunder that I recall being in the damn book. The easiest.
Dude, they didn't even show Jane Foster becoming Lady Thor. They didn't even show it. They filmed it. They didn't even put it on the DVD special features. They filmed it, and they still didn't show. It's like, okay, you're going there, show us how Jane became Lady Thor, and also show us the fact that, okay, she's dying, possibly because her body possessed the ether. Remember that?
Yep.
But it's like where you could have went with some more gravitas, dramatic content, source material. You opted to do this other stuff. You just wanted to show her as, I am woman, hear me roar. You know? And she's possessing Mjolnir.
You know, I hope Marvel, well, they understand now, because Phase 4 damn near bankrupt their ass. Good. Y'all were coming off amazing stuff. Avengers, you know, the Thanos, you know, the 2 movies, Endgame. You know, y'all was doing amazing. And then you bring in these pillow biters, and they start joking around and, you know, adding their own flavor in it, and no one cares. You got to understand, man. We moved the needle. And you think, and this is what I'm saying, and I'm dead serious when I say this, they don't respect us. They showed that in Marvel Phase 4, but you know what? The joke was on them, because we demand respect. We demand respect. You're not going to ruin our childhood or our hobbies. You're not going to do this shit. You're not going to do it. You can't just say, we're going to use our $1 million CGI and make Thor fly around the silver screen and they're going to love it. No. Give us good storyline and make it somewhat close to the comic books. And we showed, after you got some of our money, we got right home and got online and we ripped those films to shreds. And y'all lost money. And that's what these shows are about. And that's what you enjoy social media. That's where you enjoy it, because you know what? You have a voice. And none of these directors would dare engage with a real supporter of these things.
Dude, you had 2 of the best actors in Hollywood for the past 20 years in Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, and you totally wasted their talent and ability to bring source material characters to life. Zeus is an important character.
Yeah.
Gore the God Butcher is an important character, and you totally wasted this. When I heard that Christian Bale was cast to play that character, I started looking up the character of Gore the God Butcher, and he's got a heck of a story. And what was put on screen was like disgraceful.
It was disgusting, man.
What
you actually can't sum Gore the God Butcher up in one movie if you really think about it.
No, he's a person that should have been around for a while. Maybe he kind of like faded out some kind of way, and you bring him back again because it's like what he means to the universe, you know. And Zeus, of course, the way that they depicted him in the film, it's like he has no value. But if you depicted him the correct way, you still have ways to connect him to the Eternals and things like that. It's like, my goodness, they just, oh man,
they just didn't care. They just threw him in there. They got the look right. Well, they really didn't.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. And what they did was again, that's a situation where they just thought if they throw something in the movie, we'll be like, ooh, ah. And okay, he's after Stormbreaker, right?
Yeah.
How does she keep it away from him? She grabs it and throws it into fucking space. That's your plan? What the fuck was that? Man, I almost walked out, but I had kids with me. I almost got to look at it.
They still didn't introduce what's his name that had Stormbreaker, Beta Ray Bill.
How do you?
Even though they had his likeness on the side of the building, and
he was there on Battle World, wherever it was.
Yeah, the second Thor movie. I mean, the third Thor movie, and I mean, my head hurts, man, just thinking about how they screwed it up. In a deleted scene from Infinity War, no, from Endgame, when they go back in time for Thanos, there's a scene where Thanos and Gamora and Nebula are out and they're battling in space, and they're fighting some of the Beta Ray Bill's people.
So he's there.
He's there. They shot that footage.
This is gonna sound so grim.
Will walked past the skeleton of one in the first Guardians film when he opening dancing scene.
Yeah,
it was one of those. What do they call them? Corbinites or something?
Whatever they are.
Something like that. Because
you know how you bring you know how you bring Beta Ray Bill in? This is gonna sound real grim, but I need Marvel Phase 4 to literally die. And since they don't know what they're doing, when Dr. Doom shows up, and whatever his version of the Thanos snap is gonna be, when he starts deleting people, you know what you do? When he does his whatever he's gonna do, and people are dead around him, and they look around and say, "Yo, is everyone okay?" They should turn around and show Thor holding his daughter, and that's how you end the first film. He killed love. He killed love. So where does Stormbreaker go? Flies off somewhere, and then down come when they're getting their ass kicked. Down comes Beta Ray Bill. It flew right into his hands, and he came down, and that's how he makes his first appearance. Do that. Do that. Make it serious. You got to have like a tough loss. You remember when Thanos snapped and all those heroes started disappearing? Didn't you feel that? In the theater, you're like, yo, when Peter was talking to Tony Stark and he was like, I don't feel good, and he vanished, they're like, yo. You know what I'm saying? When Black Panther vanished, you was like, oh, and I said, yo, that's comic book accurate. Because I told everyone Thanos actually won. In the book, he won. So they captured that. You need a L. I mean, like a LLL.
And in the comics, Peter spider sense went off the charts because people were disappearing and he could feel it.
Yeah.
He could feel what was happening, and he was trying to get home for Mary Jane.
Yep.
And because people were disappearing and he was swinging through the city trying to get home as fast. It's like, now with him and Stark on that moon, you know, on that planet rather, it was a little different, but he knew what was happening, but he couldn't articulate it to Tony. He just, you know, I didn't like how the Russos just wrote Hulk out of the situation.
That was trash. That was trash. He didn't get his get back. And you know, the Hulk needs an epic, like, what the F? Like, remember when he showed up and punched that monster in the first Avengers? He needs one of those, because I really thought he was gonna get his get back in Endgame, and he just didn't get it. You know, and then you bring him back in this goddamn She-Hulk thing. The Hulk needs his get back before he spins off into his own movie again. He needs that situation where it's like, oh shit, where was this?
I know how to do it. I know how to do it.
Give it to me. Let's hear it.
You got Dr. Doom coming back, right?
Yo.
He's going to be coming into the universe and everything. As a casualty to everything he's doing, you know, he's going to be taking people out, stuff like that. He takes out Betty.
There goes that smart Hulk.
You take out Betty, the real Hulk is going to come out. Because she's there now. You know, they brought her into Captain America Brave New World.
Man, let me add to that. He snaps. Hulk takes over, straightens everything out, but they can't stop him. Enter Doctor Strange and Black Bolt, the Illuminati, contain him. Be like, yo, we can't leave him here. He's going to shatter the planet. Send his ass away. Send him away. He gets his bearings. He comes back, World War Hulk. And you already got Reed Richards there. That's a whole nother thing right there. I don't want it no Disney series. No. World War Hulk needs to be a movie. When he comes back, if y'all never read that, my God. He came back and they were reading his power levels, and they was like, yo, he's like 10 times stronger from when he left. This is a problem.
And there is supposed to be a Hulk and Wolverine showdown. We can't have that without him ripping Wolverine in half.
You got to do that.
You got to do it.
You got to do
Source
it, man.
material. Source material. You rip him in half and throw one half of him a few miles away.
Yep.
And Logan got to go and catch up to the rest of his body.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You got to do it, man. I mean, this is elementary stuff, man. I mean, we could Stormy, they can't. All right, let's talk about it, because Justin Cash is in the chat. Are you concerned? Well, I do have concerns, but let me just ask you. What are your concerns about the Fantastic Four film?
Well, seeing that they cast the wrong guy as Reed Richards, that's a good start. Because Pedro Pascal, I'm sorry, he's not Reed Richards. I would have rather seen Timothy Olyphant or what's the other gentleman I told you? You know, because these men are. Somebody made a remark that said Kevin Feige said that the characters were too white.
What?
Yeah.
They are.
I never heard Kevin say that. Somebody said, you know, like word had it that Kevin felt that the characters were too white.
They are white. Last I checked. But
Exactly.
whatever. You ain't gotta listen. You ain't gotta.
And Ben Grimm's character is kind of softer some kind of way. Hey Herbie, let's see that sauce. And say, oh, all right, yeah. What happened to the Herbie? Yeah. You know, the gravelly voice. What happened to that? And I do believe they're gonna put Sue Storm out front, you know, baby bump and all. She gonna be out there. Okay, guys, get behind me while I stop this madness. Yeah. They can't help themselves, man.
They ain't gotta woke everything. Yeah, thank you, fool ass Earthman. Why the fuck is Wonder Man black? What are they doing? Stop this. Stop. It's okay. If it's comic book accurate, it's okay. It's okay. Oh my God. They had Mr. Fantastic right in Multiverse of Madness. They had it right there.
Yeah.
They had it right.
John Krasinski, I would have loved to have seen him headed. He would have been perfect for this film.
Yeah. You could have brought him back. It's another universe. My God, why would you do that? Well, I still think that Marvel has to shake the woke out. Rumor is this Silver Surfer is not going to make it in this universe. I don't know if they blow up that universe or they escape it. Or I don't know what's going on. But I think, you know what? Let me be very frank. All right, Stormy, you know what? I hope this female Silver Surfer don't make it. All right, I hope she dies a horrible death, like Taskmaster. Y'all remember her? I don't either. They blew her brains out, and you ain't see her. There hasn't been a word of her or anything else. All right.
And I'll say this: there has been an announcement now that there is a gentleman who has been cast as the character Mole Man in the Fantastic Four film. So Mole Man will be in the movie.
Okay. Are they gonna bring back Norrin Radd? Yeah, Derek Gaines, I wish I could work for Marvel. They're gonna bring back Norrin Radd? They have to. Please tell me. Bring back Norrin Radd as a Silver Surfer. This new one. You know, Stormy, because you know what y'all don't know. A lot of y'all don't know. Nerds like me know. There was a herald for Galactus King called Nova. She was the color of Silver Surfer, and she just had fire hair.
Right.
There was no excuse to making a female Silver Surfer. Bring Nova in, and whatever happens, happens. And then when they pop up in the new galaxy, then you bring in Silver Surfer, like Norrin Radd Silver Surfer. Why didn't they just stop woking my shit? Leave the white characters white, leave the black characters black, tone down the jokes. Now let's get the business here.
And bring back that same dude that played him in the Fox Fantastic Four, because he's a very good actor, that guy, but he has the slim build for that character to be Silver Surfer, and you could still use Lawrence Fishburne's voice, because Lawrence Fishburne, his voiceover is excellent.
I'm nervous about this film.
We should be nervous, man, because they're not doing. They're still not doing us justice.
They're not.
And this is the thing that I'm concerned about too. Check this out. By the time Battle World ends, Secret Wars, whatever you want to call it, there are going to be some characters left over, and there's going to be new versions of old characters. I don't know how they're going to do that. But you're still going to have Iron Man, Captain America, but I do believe that Hulk is going to morph into different versions. I believe we're going to end up with Maestro Hulk.
That'd be nice. They're going, all this time jumping. We could do that. Joey Fix-It. We could do that. But that Maestro Hulk, that'd be dope. You know, it'd be great. Well, in Deadpool, you saw Old Man Logan.
And there's an old version of Ben Grimm, too.
He's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, he lived longer than anybody almost.
Everybody, yeah.
You say, like, what if he and Hulk cross paths way in the distant future?
Way in the future, yeah. Pull up that shared screen real quick. You mean to tell me, instead of a female Silver Surfer, that's her right there, that's Nova. She's a hero. This is ridiculous. He couldn't just, come on, man. You didn't have to do, come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. This is ridiculous. That's frustrating to hell, man.
Wait a minute. Did you not catch that they pretty much gave us the same scene from the Fox Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer? With Johnny Storm chasing her out into space, trying to grab her surfboard, and she knocks him back down to earth, and he loses his fire, and he's falling. That's right out of the damn Fox film,
bro.
Did you catch that?
Yes, I did. I'm going to see the movie because I'm a jerk, and if this movie does not live up to expectations, you know how you're cursing and spit flying out your mouth? I'm gonna have one of those meltdowns. Man, they're gonna do this to me.
I had a few of those. I know exactly what you're talking about. Man,
and he let it with
so mad. Your words can't come out, but the spit be flying.
Anything with an F, a P, a B, it's bad, man. It's all bad. Don't do this to me. Please let me enjoy this film. Do not F this up.
You know what it makes me think about? You remember when the rap battle was going back and forth between LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee? And he did that one video about LL, and they were showing him rapping into the mic, and he was spitting all over the mic. You remember that? That's from many years ago, man. But you remember that scene? He was, and the mic was all wet. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Oh.
Some of y'all might not be old enough to know what we're talking about.
Oh. You know you're angry when you spit, when you talk, man. Oh. And yeah, young DZ, I'll never forgive DC for that crap, man. Let me tell you. Yeah, Terax is my guy. Air Walker. Oh my God. Bro, listen. I will never forgive DC for pump faking Superman and Black Adam.
Oh my goodness.
I will never forgive them for that. I will never forgive them.
We never did a show. Let me get my little book out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We never did a show about that, Drew, but we just talked about it a little bit. But we need to dedicate a show to what DC
call it Unforgiven.
Yeah, let me write that down.
Unforgiven, you hashtag you bastards. How could you?
What they did to Henry Cavill and The Rock.
My God, bro. And that Black Adam film was really solid, man. That was really, and you know the crazy thing is, The Rock looked like Black Adam, like in the comic book.
Yeah.
how the hell they really did that? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I just wrote that down. Listen, man. The Rock had worked on that for almost a decade. And once Henry Cavill's Superman's film Man of Steel came out, and Batman versus Superman, which the studio forced Zack Snyder's hand to make that because he still had something else in mind. But when we finally got Black Adam and The Rock, he didn't want to be in the Shazam film because he didn't want to be a part of that. He wanted to be introduced on his own and everything in a different way. But when he was able to get Cavill to be a cameo in the end of that film, I don't know if what it was like in your theater when you saw it or whatever, but in the theater that I was in, everybody was hyped. Like, oh man, you know, Superman and Black Adam gonna face off. It's like that's gonna be like Superman and Zod all over again. Really, it's like, you know,
yeah, little worse too. It's a little worse.
Yeah, and Black Adam is like, I like the fact that they showed him he was willing to murder.
Bro, those dudes in the beginning, they're dead, bro.
Yeah.
He killed them. Love that, man. And I just knew I was going to get a sequel, man. I just knew I was. And they fired Henry Cavill.
After telling him to go on social media and let everybody know he's back, they actually encouraged him. That's the thing. And let's save the conversation on it for the show. Yeah. But just letting everybody out here know that they were duped. The carpet was pulled from under their feet, and this was just something that doggone James Gunn. Again, this is my second time mentioning him in the show, but dude, when he went over there, he was already writing this film that's coming out this week. Yeah, he was already writing it and didn't have Cavill in mind at all whatsoever. That's just
bad. Oh, Jerry Gaines didn't like, you ain't like Black Adam, brother? No, I liked it. Oh, yeah, I like Black Adam.
What I liked about Black Adam is what I liked about the DC Comics being different from Marvel. There were certain thematics regarding Black Adam's film that with his character, he could get away with what he was doing because he was not only a character out of time to kind of throw something in there like Captain America, but also culture. And it was a story that still had to be told. You know, Digimon played the wizard, right? But there was more to be told about Black Adam and his background and everything, because he was the first one, first Shazam, basically. And coming from an enslaved society of people and being able to liberate yourself, it's like, dude, that there's so much. That's why I say when he deletes people, it's because pretty much they deserved it. You know what I'm saying? It is like, that's why he's the anti-hero, you know? And that's why it would have made a great contradiction for Superman, because Superman is here to save the day. Black Adam is just here to stomp out what
He's that shade of gray. He's not a
Yeah.
hero. He's not a villain. He's like, I'll do what needs to be done. I don't have no qualms about it. Yep.
Listen, check this out too. Going back to Man of Steel. When I was sitting in the theater watching it for the first time, in awe, because we finally got a Superman film where he's punching people and stuff. It's like, that was great, right? To see the battle between him and the Kryptonians and everything. But when he took Zod out to save those people,
Mm-hmm.
and he let out that scream because Zod made him do it. I realized something in that instance. In the comics, Superman had a vow for protecting human life. And I don't think it was ever really explained, but persevere of life is important to Superman, Kal-El. In that moment of when he did that to Zod, I instantly thought in my mind, I was like, oh, this is why Kal-El feels like he does. Because remember, he's got that codex in his body. So to take out a last surviving member of Krypton,
The last thing he wanted to do.
last thing he wanted to do, and to cry out like that, it's like, that's like his whole nature of his existence, you know, because the planet is gone, you know. So when people were talking about that in a negative way, and I was like, man, you lowbrow folks, you can't see what's going on here. It was very, it was deep. It was not something on the surface. It was very deep. Don't you remember when him and Cal were having that dialogue, and the screen turned black and it looked like the winds were blowing, and they were standing on a pile of skulls?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Cal
yeah.
started sinking into that. This was you're at the edge of life with this, and you got to make a decision. Are you going to fight for living, or are you going to fight, or you're going to give up and die? Cal was that, and this is why he becomes Superman. You understand? It's like it was a journey, and even when Doomsday took him out to be resurrected and everything, he has to come back, because again, that's the Christ metaphor, the death and the resurrection. And he comes back even greater, you know, which is why he can save everybody now. Remember, his dad told him, Cal, you could save them all. Didn't he say that?
The Jesus undertones in Superman's story is magnificent. The Jesus, the undertones, he's telling a story. You understand? You know, I get it. And
But what Zach was doing, he wasn't trying to give it to you all at once. He was giving it to you in increments, bro.
Right. Right.
When the Justice League film, Zack Snyder's Justice League, not the one with the other director. When he got stabbed by Doomsday, his scream resonated throughout the world. They showed it in the depths of the ocean where the
Atlanteans.
They showed it in Themyscira. They showed it across the world of Metropolis and everything. It went the Jesus metaphor, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Zack Snyder is brilliant. I don't know what these people are. James Gunn couldn't have a shred of that type of depth.
And we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it in this film, bro. It's gonna be very colorful. It's an overflux of characters. There's no build. You got to know the comic books to know who the characters are. They're just already there. There's no, once again, you're not going to be able to develop a love for these characters like Marvel did. Each one of those characters had a build-up. And when it was time for them to unite, they united. There's not this in this Superman film. And this is just another grab at the heartstrings, thinking that comic book fanatics are easily swayed. But I'm telling you, this movie is going to do somewhat okay financially, but the backlash after its release is going to be, I can't wait to see what happens that Saturday, bro. I can't wait, because people are going to tear it up. It's either going to be really good or really bad. And it's unnecessary. What they did with Henry Cavill was oh man, I want to curse so bad. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, man. And there's no shot to any of the actors in the film. Get your money. But it's unnecessary. Henry Cavill was this era's Superman. In the 70s, it was goddamn Christopher Reeves. That was it. Henry Cavill, you could have told me Henry Cavill was his distant cousin. I'd have believed it. That's it, man. That's Superman, bro. This new guy, sorry, man. Your face is too round. You just, no. Stop doing this to us, bastard. And when Henry Cavill showed up in Black Adam, he had the curl in his head. I said, oh, man.
And his costume was brighter. His costume was brighter than it was in the Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman and Justice League.
Just stab me. You might as well have left him dead when Doomsday killed him. Bastards. But we're going to cook on that. When we talk about it, we're going to cook on that. Ugly stuff, man. But listen, I'm going to get out of here. I got to...
Oh, yeah. Are you doing Pep?
No, not tonight. I'm going to do it tomorrow
not tonight.
night.
Okay. Because I look at the time. I'm like, shoot, we smoking, man. It's like... But that's how we get on here, you know.
We do it, man. That's how we get down. But the outstanding show, man. Can't wait to see what we do next week. Shout out to everybody that joined us, man. Y'all make sure y'all share this video, because more to come. Become a member of the temple, Stormy's Kung Fu Temple. Y'all want to get that education on those Kung Fu flicks? I'm telling you right now, all the education is there. Go subscribe to Stormy B Man's Kung Fu Theater and Kung Fu Theater and Entertainment. Man.
Yep, that channel is growing, man. It's like almost at 200 subs already, and I just launched it, 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago. Views is outstanding. 3,000 views too. I'm like, oh shit. But the information there on the films that we grew up with in the 70s and 80s is all there. If you guys want to learn about those actors, we just did Chen Sing, the Chinese Charles Bronson. You know?
Yeah.
Just go subscribe, man. You won't be disappointed, man. That's just something you want to learn about those flicks. Just spin it, man. A lot of material there. So salute to you, Stormy. Great show.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, good brother.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Great show. All right. Peace. Yeah. So we are here to wrap things up now. It's been a great evening of conversation on comic book film fans and the lack, love, hate for source material. We talked about it a great deal this evening, and you all were here to witness it, man. And it's like, hey, we are still pumping the life of comic films and the graphics and everything, and the relation and how we look forward to them doing it the right way. Right now, we're going to hear a word from our commercials here. Here we go.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. dramatically improve footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a focus ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a focus ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a focus ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a focus ball. When you train with the focus ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the focus ball now.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of another Nerds, man. I hate that we have to shut it down for the night. It's still so geeked up, still could go on longer. But that'll be all for tonight, you guys. This was number 126 in the series of Nerd shows. And we always try to come back with something solid to talk with you about, you know, regarding what's going on in our culture. I got a third channel that'll be launching. And it's not dissimilar from the Kung Fu channel, but it's going to be featuring more culture specific topic and content. But the Kung Fu channel will remain a dedicated Kung Fu channel. So between the two, we'll have STORMYBMAN'S Kung Fu Temple and Entertainment. The other will be STORMYBMAN'S Temple of Culture and Entertainment. So be on the lookout for both, huh? I will be adding the link to the third channel to the description box, but we're working. We're trying to get it going for you guys to have it, you know, where can provide all types of entertainment for you on a consistent basis, you know, and that way my boxing channel can remain dedicated to boxing, you see, because it's important to be able to do these things and be flexible, but also to have meaning, context. So with that being said, we're going to get on up out of here. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll be catching you guys next week for another Nerds. Want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody.